Let's spend a little time today talking about our everyday carry prayer books. Hello everyone. Recently my older brother moved across country, or nearly so, and that move necessitated his lightening his load, getting rid of some of his belongings for the move. And among the things that he left behind was his collection of hymnals. He, like me, is afflicted with the collecting gene. And he had a number of hymnals that he had picked up over the years, and he thought that would be something that I would enjoy looking at. And I certainly have enjoyed that, though I would possibly enjoy his proximity a little more. Sorry, brother, I wanted to guilt you a little bit. But among the hymnals, and many of the hymnals that he left behind will make appearances in the coming days on this channel or on my sister channel. So kind of watch for that. But the first one I wanted to talk about struck me as familiar, and it is from the Episcopal Church in the U.S. It is an Oxford printed hymnal, but notice anything unusual about this hymnal. The hymnal on the side, Oxford, nothing on the front, but the back cover has the hymnal in a gold kind of illuminated print and a cross motif. Why is it printed in such an unusual format? Well, appreciators of the prayer book will know immediately why it's designed in this way. And looking at another hymnal like that will give us a hint. Here we have the hymnal. This one's from Seabury, and this is from a later date. 1975 is the inscription there. This one also has a name, but no date. But we know this book is an older book. But we see this hymnal is paired with the Book of Common Prayer in a design familiar to individuals who collect prayer books or appreciate prayer books. The Common Prayer portion has a little tab. This one's broken. Has a pocket, I guess you would say, into which the cover of the hymnal slides. So they come together as a set and stay together. But on this hymnal, you can see similarly, there's no decoration on the front because that part would be stuck to the Common Prayer book and wouldn't be visible normally. But there's a cross motif on the back. So the Common Prayer has it on the front, the hymnal has it on the back. When you put them together, now you've got a cross on both sides. So this hymnal was part of a pair that came with the Common Prayer. Now, if it came with Common Prayer when my brother obtained it, I tend to doubt it because they would still be here. But if it did, the Common Prayer is now lost. So I guess commercial, I'm looking for a Common Prayer that matches this particular hymnal. So friends of mine out there watching, if you happen to see one that you think matches this Oxford hymnal, I would be pleased if you would set it aside for me. This set, by the way, was found at I think a flea market by another family member that frequents such things and found this for me for a few bucks. And I appreciate that. It's a neat 1928 American Episcopal prayer book. Very nice. I do have other Oxford prayer books that come in this kind of format. Here's one from, would be the same prayer book as that, which would have come with this in terms of the contents of the prayer book. This one, Oxford, pre-1928 American Episcopal prayer book. They often have an inscription in them. This one you saw had a Mrs. Ainsworth, I believe. This one to a Linus on April 20, 1906. Wonder if that was the date of Easter in 1906. That's the date of Easter in this year in which I'm recording this, 2025, I believe. But similar idea. It's a set. The hymnal tucks into the pocket on the common prayer book, so you keep them as a set. Let's look for a minute at the hymnal, and then we'll talk about these little prayer book hymnal combos, because there was something that I found interesting at the beginning here. And this is in a lot of the hymnals that come with prayer books. I'll probably have to take a picture of this because I don't know if you'll be able to read that the way it is or if I'll be able to read it. Canon 25 of Title I of the Digest of Church Music. The hymns, which are set forth by authority, and anthems in the words of Holy Scripture, are allowed to be sung in all congregations of this church before and after morning and evening prayer, and also before and after sermons at the discretion of the minister, whose duty it shall be by standing directions or from time to time to appoint such authorized hymns or anthems as are to be sung. It shall be the duty of every minister of this church, with such assistance as he may see fit to employ from persons skilled in music, to give order concerning the tunes to be sung at any time in his church, and especially it shall be his duty to suppress all light and unseemly music, and all indecency and irreverence in the performance, by which vain and ungodly persons profane the service of the sanctuary. How about that? You wouldn't see that printed in a hymnal today. Of course, finding a hymnal today would be the major trick, I suppose. So if you see a prayer book that matches that, send me a message. I would be interested in finding it. So these, often when I find them, they come in their boxes, and they often have an inscription with a date, presumably maybe a baptismal date, or I don't know if it was common practice in the Episcopal Church of yesteryear, like you would see in a Roman Catholic church, where someone would be given a gift Bible or some other religious item at their first communion. If that was a practice, maybe that's what this represents. But whenever I find these, they often look as if they have been used, as if someone brought this to church, to communion or to morning or evening prayer. I don't get the sense that these are made small and portable because the priest would use them, maybe at visitation or something. First of all, I think it is unlikely that the hymnal would be needed if he's visiting the sick or those homebound or infirm, unable to come to morning or evening prayer or Holy Communion. Probably the priest isn't going to be in need of a hymnal. I guess that's why they would come apart. He could perform the services for visitation of the sick or Holy Communion at bedside or something of that nature. It's not exactly like at this time in American history we had Methodist horseback circuit riders going to far-flung parishes or churches to do service. So I get the sense that these were for ordinary parishioners, maybe particularly pious parishioners, or those who wanted to appear that way, or hoped that their loved one would be that way, and they were given as gifts. But they, as I said, they tend to be used, often will have pencil marks in them. So it's, given as a gift to someone on a particular date and apparently used. So whether they would bring these to morning or evening prayer or the communion on Sundays, I'm not certain. Can't think of what other use they might be put to. That seems to make sense. Tuck it in your purse or whatever. Linus, I assume, was a young man. Here I have another prayer book that I opened up this video with, another Oxford. This one came without a hymnal, but 1928 American prayer book, and this one I found locally through Facebook Marketplace for $5. This one is unused. Like most of the ones I find do show significant signs of use. This one apparently was unused, and don't believe it came with any inscription. No, not that I can see. So would these have been like an everyday carry prayer book? Do you have to have a license to carry this particular weapon? I'm reminded of the quote attributed to Mother Teresa when she was checked at a checkpoint, either entering or leaving Gaza, and was asked if she had any weapons, and she said, "Oh yes, my prayer books." Are these your everyday carry weapons of spiritual warfare? Either way, I absolutely love little pocket prayer books. Whenever I see one, which is rare, but if I see one at the flea market or thrift, it's generally going to be coming home with me. So thank you, brother, not for moving far away from me, but for thinking of me and giving me this opportunity to reminisce again about interesting prayer books I found and to ruminate on this subject. If you have some idea about how these would have been normally put to use, I'm particularly interested in why the hymnal. It must be that you're bringing it to your local parish or church to use yourself, because presumably the church would be equipped with hymnals and equipped with prayer books. So I'm curious, what was the purpose of it? Why so many that show up from time to time? It's not something I regularly see, but I've seen enough of them to think this was a common thing for maybe a particularly pious parishioner to have their own prayer book and hymnal that they carried with them. I'd be interested in your thoughts on the subject. Thanks for watching this prayer book video, and I hope to see you here again next time.